Hey y'all, it's Tim Miller from the Bulwark. You didn't think that I was going to go to bed without giving you all my take on Mark Robison, all right? You don't know me if you thought I was not going to jump on here, because if a Republican candidate gets caught on a porn message board talking about how they're a black Nazi and how they like watching all kinds of very kinky stuff, well, I'll have thoughts about that. So here I am, and I do. And I have some big picture thoughts about what it says about the state of the Republican Party, that they keep attracting people like this at the end. But mostly I want to focus on just how passionate Donald Trump was in his support for Mark Robison. Oh, Donald Trump loved Mark Robison more than I love ice cream, and I love the Denver Nuggets, and I love going to the gay bar. I mean, he loves Mark Robison more than I love anything. And it's a little funny, actually, how much he loves him. Loves this man, this black Nazi, running for governor of North Carolina. And there are many times that Donald Trump's praised him, and I want to play a couple of them for you. But there's just this one, and something funny happens. And I want to start and focus on that first. Let's watch Donald Trump comparing Mark Robison to Martin Luther King on steroids.
I heard him coming in on the plane. I was listening, and I said to the people on the plane, watch this. This is Martin Luther King on steroids, okay? Now, I told that to Mark. I said, I think you're better than Martin Luther King. I think you are Martin Luther King times 2. And he looked at me, and I wasn't sure, was he angry because that's a terrible thing to say, or was he complimented? I have never figured it out, but I'm telling you, he's one of, right? When I said that to you, you looked like, I don't know if I like that comment. You should like it, because you are outstanding, and you're going to be the next governor, so that's going to be very cool. Now, the fake news will go today, and they'll take that little statement that I make, that little cute statement, and they'll say, he said that this gentleman is better than Martin Luther King. This is a terrible thing. Is he a racist? It'll end up being, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because the people get it. Mark, the people get it. Thank you, Mark. And that was a great speech you made, too, and I appreciate it very much.
There's so many layers to this. I mean, number one, it's like, does Donald Trump not know another good black person besides MLK? It's like when in basketball, and you have the white basketball player. It's like when people are like, Nikola Jokic is the best basketball player since Larry Bird. It's like, I'm just going to name the first other white person that I can think of. He just reminds me so much of Larry Bird. It's like Donald Trump only knows one good black person he can think of, and he's like, if this Mark Robison is good, I'm going to compare him to the only good black person that I can think of, Martin Luther King Jr. But the funnier part for me is, if you notice at the very end there of the video, at the very end, Trump is unusually self-aware, and he's telling the story about how he had talked to Mark Robinson about how much better he is than Martin Luther King Jr. And he's like, I don't know if he liked that comment, and you can see Trump's a little uncomfortable. He's like, and you think that going in his inner monologue is like, is it offensive to compare a black person to Martin Luther King Jr.? Might it feel like I'm diminishing Martin Luther King? Maybe Mark Robinson has this special feeling about Martin Luther King because he's black and Martin Luther King's black, and Donald Trump doesn't know anything about this culture. You just see all this going through his head. He's like, I think I'm complimenting you, but I'm not sure if I am. And the funny thing is, Mark Robinson probably didn't like that comment, but not in the way that Donald Trump thought. It turns out, based on the messages that he posted on this porn message board, and let's just remember, you're really deep in the porn game. If you're not just going to the porn site, but you're posting on the message board on the porn site. I mean, you are deep in the porn game at that point. But on this message board, Mark Robinson said a few things that are pretty revealing as to whether or not he would like to be compared to Martin Luther King on steroids. And I think that Mark Robinson didn't want to be compared to Martin Luther King on steroids. Do you know why? How about this? Mark Robinson said that he would have called Martin Luther King Martin Lucifer Coon. Yeah, He wrote when Barack Obama put a monument to MLK on the National Mall. Mark Robinson wrote on the porn message board, "Get that commie bastard off the National Mall." Mark Robinson hates Martin Luther King. He thinks he's a commie bastard, and he thinks he's Lucifer. So, yeah, he probably was offended to be called Martin Luther King on steroids. In addition to the fact that any thinking person, any of the rest of us who are regular sociable humans who understand the bravery and courage of somebody like Martin Luther King, who, put themselves forward and spoke out to advocate for the civil rights of millions of Americans and gave his life for it, like, we honor that. A normal person honors that, and we look at Donald Trump as normal people. We look at Donald Trump and say, what kind of crazy person are you that you would compare this obvious lunatic, because we've known Mark Robinson as lunatic forever based on his public comments. We didn't really need his porn message board comments. Like, comparing this lunatic to Martin Luther King makes Donald Trump an insane person, and that is insane and offensive. That's what us normal people thought. Mark Robinson found it offensive, but from the opposite point of view, because he thinks Martin Luther King is a commie bastard Lucifer. So there's that. This wasn't the only time that Donald Trump complimented Mark Robinson, the Holocaust-denying porn message board frequenter, who also, if you missed our other videos on this, you might also just want to remember. And even if you didn't miss them, it's always fun to remind people that Mark Robinson went to the porn store in North Carolina so often that multiple people remembered him as a frequent visitor. They said that some weeks he went in daily, and he would bring in a large pizza, and he'd go into the back room of the porn store, the windowless porn shop in North Carolina, and he would eat a pizza while doing whatever it was else that he did back there. Based on the message board comments, probably watch transgender intercourse. So we know this guy is not great. There's the Holocaust denying, there's the homophobia, there's the bigotry, there's the hateful rhetoric, there's the extreme positions. There's not a lot there to really like on the face about Mark Robinson. Donald Trump, though, none of that. No red flags for Donald Trump. No red flags. Green flags only, Donald Trump. And so here's another clip of Donald Trump talking about Mark Robinson.
You have to cherish Mark. He's a star. You have to cherish him. Amen. It's like a fine wine, because that's what you have. You have a fine wine. He's an outstanding person. I've gotten to know him so well and fairly quickly.
We have to cherish him. We have to cherish him like a fine wine. I don't really want to think about consuming Mark Robinson in any way. So I don't. That little verbal imagery gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit. We've got to cherish him like a fine wine. But he's an outstanding person. I like this line at the very end. He's an outstanding person. I've gotten to know him so well. Classic Donald Trump. Mark Robinson likes him, so he's going to give him the full-throated endorsement, pun intended, and he's going to say, "I've got to know him so well." So it's not just. I'm not just out here giving my endorsement to anybody who puts on a MAGA hat. I'm Donald Trump. I've judged this man. I'm a businessman. I know a counterparty when I see one, and I've looked at him, and I've judged him, and I've gotten to know him very well, and I think that this person is like a fine wine. This is someone we should cherish. This man who went onto gay porn message boards to discuss how he was a black Nazi and how he likes to cheat on his wife, and how he likes to watch, and whatever kind of porn you like to watch, whatever, that's fine for you, but he likes to watch some porn that, let's just say, not only has he said he wanted to ban in North Carolina, some activities that not only does he want to ban, but that he finds filthy and disgusting. So that tells you a little something about what Mark Robinson thinks about himself. So we have this guy who goes to the porn store so often that people recognize him and remember him bringing a pizza, who's on porn message boards so often that he's able to have back and forths about his feelings about Martin Luther King with other strangers, and in addition to his various pervy peccadillos. And how did this person have time for anything else? Hard to know. I mean, this man is consuming so much pornography it's honestly hard to see how he had time to like get through the day. How do you have 3 square meals? Well, I guess if you're Mark Robinson, you eat and porn together. But how do you do anything else? I don't know. I guess that's a question for an investigative reporter. But the more interesting thing for me, what I can provide you some insight on, the question is, how does a man like this, how does somebody that is a total disaster, someone whose personal life is a disaster, whose public commentary is a disaster, whose private behavior is despicable in every way, and I'm referring to the black Nazi part in particular, how does somebody like this become the Republican nominee for governor of a swing state? Like, it's not like a city council. It's like I'm picking some random Republican city council man. This man is the nominee to be governor of North Carolina, one of the most important states. How does that happen? And, I think maybe one thing for the Republicans to think about is that maybe, just maybe, in the Donald Trump years, they are actually incentivizing people like this. That if you say to the world, if you put out there to the world that all you have to do to rise up the ranks in this party, all you have to do to get a powerful leadership role where you are a representative of the people, all you have to do to get a security detail, to get the governor's mansion, all you got to do is suck up to a crazy, lying bigot. And all you have to do is just apologize for them and say everything that person says is right, even when they are lying to your face. And all you have to do is suck up to them and tell them how great they are, even though they are manifestly unfit to do anything. That's all you have to do. All you have to do is say, this one lunatic, Donald Trump, is amazing. And if you do that, if you put on the hat, then you're gold. Then you're gold. That's all you got to do. That's the only thing. There's no other qualifications. We don't care if you were in the military, you went to law school. We don't care if you are a community leader. We don't care if you're an upstanding citizen. We don't care if you're a good father. We don't care about anything. All we care about is that you suck up to this one guy. And for a bonus, it would be a good bonus if you're also really good at insulting liberals, right? So if those are the main 2 qualifications, can you suck up to this guy and can you insult liberals? Okay, well, in that case, you're going to attract a lot of fucking psychotic people. You're going to attract a lot of sociopaths. Because to go in front of the camera every day and say Donald Trump, this supremely unfit human, this disgusting tub of lard who has no redeemable character traits, is the best person I've ever met, and I think he should be the president. To be able to do that every day, you either have to be an idiot or a total sociopath. And so the Republicans are like attracting Mark Robinson. They're like a magnet for it. They're like, we are bringing in sociopaths. We are asking you for your resume. And instead of looking for qualities, what we're looking for is, how sociopathic are you? Like, how psychopathic are you? How willing are you to lie for Donald Trump? And how mean can you be? If you are mean to liberals and Haitians in the media, and you are psychotic enough to lie for Donald Trump, you're going to the top of the list. Well, if you do that, you know who you're going to attract? Guys that spend 5 days a week at the porn shop with an extra large pizza. We'll be back tomorrow with more. I hope you all enjoy. Peace.